Patrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Jet Take. I am your host for tonight, Kyle Fahey, and we have a lot to talk about. A lot of rumors swirling around the Jets kingdom. None of them came true, as per se the McCagnon era continues on. But nonetheless, I am joined by the great Gangrene David. David, what's going on?
What is up, Kyle? It is a great day to talk football today. I am hyped up, and before we get into the show, I'm going to pull a Joe right now and promote our...
Shamelessly promote.
Twitter at The Jet Take. You can follow us on Instagram at The Jet Take. You can check out our podcast at thejettake.libsyn.com. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're everywhere. And, it's been pretty good lately. Free agency is rolling along, and I am fired up. So before we get into the show, there's just something I want to do.
Ooh, go ahead. Oh, no. What? I'm confused. I'll sing, though. Happy birthday.
A very special happy 30th birthday to Eric Decker, who is rehabbing who's rehabbing very well from his surgeries, and hopefully will be back to fulfill his duties as number one receiver very, very shortly. Hopefully we'll be back by training camp, and we'll be ready to roll.
Wait, number one receiver? I don't think he's ever really been number one receiver.
2014, he was actually, but now with Brandon Marshall gone, he'll probably fulfill those duties. I mean, him and Quincy Miller could possibly all around, but let's get into the show. I am fired up right now.
Yeah, and David, I think I'm going to take one out of your book here, and I'm going to play something too. You ready?
Yep.
Let's see if it. All right, there we go. All right, same one. You'll see why though. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy. This is what Dont'e Hightower was greeted to when he entered the Florham Park facility. And the Jets were trying to woo him over. Reports swirling around that, the Jets were highly interested in free agent linebacker Dont'e Hightower. They pull out all the stops for him, got him cupcakes, got him a cake, sent some Jets gear to his mom, had the whole package for him, and, didn't sign with us, even though we had the most money and we pulled everything. What I'll say about the Jets, apparently they know how to throw a hell of a party. Muhammad Wilkerson, he didn't show up for his, but the people that did show up, I heard fantastic things about it. And then Dont'e Hightower, I mean, he was kind of forced into his, but, cupcakes really sell a party, honestly, David. But, all jokes aside, what are your thoughts on the Dont'e Hightower? I guess we could call this a saga because I feel like there was a 7-part series. Each day there was a different story from supposed insiders who had the sources.
Well, I'm actually glad Dont'e Howard is not signed. There are some upsets about the fact that we didn't bring him in, although he is a very, very good linebacker. He's a 27-year-old linebacker, and he's been really progressing, especially when it comes to going up against the run, when it comes to forcing fumbles, when it comes to tackles for losses. I mean, he has progressed, and honestly, the fact that we really just decided to throw all this money at Dont'e Hightower, I think was just an idiotic mistake, because not only do we have more holes to fill, even though we're just bringing in one player for pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just exaggerating, but, you got other needs to fill. And honestly, bringing in Dont'e Hightower, I mean, if you brought him in for a much cheaper price, I mean, instead of throwing all this money at him, I mean, I would have probably brought him in. But either way, one way or another, he was going to go back to New England, because you got to, if you're Dont'e Hightower, you got to think to yourself, you are a starter on the New England Patriots, a deadly football team that goes to the playoffs every year. Who would not want to start for them? Of course, Dont'e Hightower wants to remain on a team and start on a team who continues to win and win and win year in and year out, and there is no way Dont'e Hightower was leaving New England. He has been a starter there for his entire career. He already has, 2 rings out of there. And honestly, there is no way he was going to leave New England. So you could have thrown all the money you want at him. Dont'e Hightower was not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, David. And, if I'm a player, I'm probably sticking with the Patriots, no matter how many rings I have. Superior coaches, superior quarterbacks, and just superior culture. But, going back to the sources part of this, it seemed that every day they were basically confirming that he was going to the Jets. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody was convinced by, day 2 of this thing that the Jets had the most money on the table, and they wowed him, and that, he was trapped in the office because of the snow, and Mike McCagnon pulled all the stops for him, and it didn't get done.
Well, of course it wouldn't have gotten done because, Dont'e Hightower wasn't really just going to just pay attention to the Jets only. I mean, I don't really know if he clearly had mutual interest in the Jets whatsoever, but, unfortunately now he's back in New England. The Jets did everything they could to sign a 27-year-old linebacker who has been having his problems as of late, but, now you just got to relook at that linebacker position and just relook at our defense now. I mean, Dont'e Hightower would have probably been a huge plus to our defense, but wouldn't have filled all the holes we needed because basically we still need safety, we still need corners, and we still need an edge rusher. So if you are to sign a linebacker, would you consider someone like Zach Brown or Kevin Minter? And knowing you, I think I know the answer to that one.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the signing of Zach Brown over Dont'e Hightower. Healthier, cheaper, and I think the better player.
Really? How so?
More tackles, a more natural linebacker. I don't think he's as good of a blitzer, but I think he's better in the run, and he's better in pass coverage. And he's just a solid, young linebacker all around for a cheaper price.
I think that's a fair point, and hopefully the Jets do have some interest in one of those 2 players. But going to another position, going to the offense now, the Jets actually have had some signings as of late. Well, actually one very good signing. We actually elaborated on it not too long ago. Kelvin Beachum got him for about $8 million a year. Honestly, I thought it was a great bargain, especially for a left tackle who may have had a down year but really carried the Jaguars' offense, had a great career in Pittsburgh, and I honestly think that we got him for a much better bargain than Ryan Clady, who constantly kept getting injured all the time, and honestly I think Kelvin Beachum will be such a better upgrade than Ryan Clady. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I think it's a huge upgrade. I know Kelvin Beachum had a down year, but when Blake Bortles is your quarterback, it's not easy to look good as an offensive lineman. I mean, this dude holds the ball for forever. He has one of the slowest releases in the NFL. His arm mechanics are pathetic. I mean, it's not even NFL worthy. So he just bats. You guys can't see me on camera, but I know David can. He just holds the ball for too long. Any good left tackle can probably hold for 5 to 6 seconds. You need about 7 to 8 for Blake Bortles, because then he tries to run. He just has no, how do I call this, NFL approach to playing quarterback. It's all collegiate for him. So you saw what he did with Ben Roethlisberger, a guy who's got like a medium release time. He was probably the number 1 left tackle in the NFL, or definitely in the consideration for it, when he had a good quarterback who knew what he was doing. Now, I'm not saying we have that, so Beachum will probably suck in our eyes. But, God forbid Christian Hackenberg does a decent job this year. I think it will be a good thing for Beachum.
Well, then again, sticking with the quarterback position, and you're right, I think Kelvin Beachum will probably do the best to his ability. And I think you could be right because part of the reasoning of why Beachum had a bad year was due to the fact that Blake Bortles had struggles in that quarterback spot with his release time and with his ability to stay in the pocket. And Beachum actually, I would say maybe he had a down year, but he's definitely one that has a lot of passion and puts a lot of effort into the sport, and I like that a lot. But sticking with the quarterback position, mutual interest, Jay Cutler and the Jets.
No. Play the soundbite. Play it. Come Come on, you don't have this? Hold on. I got it. I got a better one. There. David.
I was just... What?
I'm going.
Come on, hell no. To the no,
sing it with me.
hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, listen. Sister Elder, sister.
Hell no to Jay Cutler. If he steps anywhere near MetLife Stadium wearing green, unless it's, I guess it's like the Eagles in preseason or something like that, I would be mad.
Okay, you know what? I'm actually all in 100% for not bringing Jay Cutler in here. Honestly, I feel like we'll probably bring in another Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm sorry, but there could be some pros with Jay Cutler, even though there's no such thing as pros for Jay Cutler. Because in order to actually make Jay Cutler have a good year, you're gonna need a whole lot of weapons around you, which means you're gonna have to use your running backs as pass-catching backs a lot more often. Decker needs to stay healthy. Quincy Enunwa has to have his breakout year. He has to have a huge year if Cutler wants to have a consideration for a decent year. But, lots of cons there. I mean, he's extremely inconsistent. He's injury-prone, and there is no way in living hell that I want him in here. I am sorry, Jay Cutler, but get out of our organization.
Jay, I am not sorry. If you're listening to this, if you're sitting down smoking a cigar right now, drinking some brandy, listening to the Jet Take because you're mulling over retirement, I'm not sorry. Do not come to my team. Do not.
Agreed.
Do not ruin this.
Well, agreed. But if not Jay Cutler, though, who would you want as quarterback for the Jets?
Oh, God. Probably Hackenberg. Honestly, I'd rather just go on with Petty and Hackenberg than sign one of these guys. I'd rather see what they have, suck, and go draft Sam Darnold or McSorley from Did I say sign? Did I say sign them? Or did I say draft? Alright, anyway, as David types furiously in the background. I'd rather suck this year and see what the quarterbacks have, because, the talent around them isn't that great either, so I don't project a good year anyway, no matter who's our quarterback.
Whoa. Why is our offensive talent not good?
Because two of our wide receivers are number twos. We don't have a tight end for the first 2 weeks. Our right tackle is unproven. Our center is relatively unproven.
Okay, but you got to understand that though. I mean, you are 100% right, but we got to fill up those holes for one of these quarterbacks who actually have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got to suck this year and draft well next year.
Whoa. No. I'm sorry. Listen, as much as we are rebuilding, there is no way that I would want the Jets to tank this entire season. It's just...
David, if it meant drafting Sam Darnold or McSorley from Penn State, or possibly even the guy from Wyoming, is Josh Allen from Wyoming, I would do it.
Kyle,
I mean, I don't think we're going to have a choice. We're going to suck anyway next year. We're definitely going to be top 10.
Well, yes, but we are not wasting the season away, okay? The Jets are well, then again, though, the Jets are...
David, you're not wasting it away if you're finding your franchise quarterback.
So
sit through a year of sucking, don't do the season tickets.
So listen, you want to sit there, waste your entire season, and pray that Sam Darnold is on the board and can come in and be our savior. What are the chances of that happening? I just wonder.
Because I think if we go in with Christian Hackenberg and Bryce Petty, we'll have the number one pick. I'm being honest. I think we'll have the number one pick.
Well, I'm going to tweet this right now, and let's see what they say. But keep going right now. I actually want to hear your thoughts about taking the season away.
So what would your plan be, David? Go for all the wins right now? I mean, if Christian Hackenberg or Bryce Petty comes into the season, they're doing really well, and they're playing well, and we get like 5 or 6 wins, and they show plus, great. I'm fine with that. I don't foresee that happening.
Well, yes, it's young. Well, yes. I mean, if we obviously do have a down season, it's with a rebuilding team. Okay, I don't want to waste the season away, but at least I want the Jets to show some effort with the young talent they are trying to develop. Okay.
Well, then Ben. I just called you Ben. David. I'm so used to yelling at Ben. David. They're going to put all the effort out there. It's just that talent is unmatched compared to the NFL. Our talent. I mean, I think the only teams that compare to us on a talent level are the 49ers, probably the Browns, Maybe the Jags. I don't know. I really can't name a worse team.
Oh, my God. You're just out of your mind right now, Kyle.
How am I out of my... What's your plan, David? What's your plan?
My plan is to go into next season and see what this young talent is capable of, okay? You are on the mentality that you want to tank the season away, and it's not going to happen.
No. I know we're going to lose.
So
they can try all they want, but they're
why do you want the Jets to tank for a quarterback who might not even be on the draft board by the time we pick next season? Why?
Why don't you? You want a quarterback, don't you?
Well, what are the chances?
And David, it's not a matter of me wanting to take. It's a matter of me knowing we're going to suck. I didn't say I want to tank. I said I know we're going to suck.
So that doesn't mean that. Well, you want the Jets to obviously have a top 5 pick and draft Sam Darnold. That's exactly what you're wanting right now.
Probably, yeah. Unless Christian Hackenberg or Bryce Petty lights it up next year. David, how do you boo when your team is as talentless as the Jets is, and we have a bunch of quitters on defense, and we have an uninspired coach? How are you going to boo wanting to find a franchise quarterback? You can't boo that. I know you're a season ticket holder, and you don't want to sit through 2-14 next year or 3-13, whatever we may end up being. I know you don't want to do that, and I know that's why you're saying this, but it's probably best for the team. We're gonna suck anyway. We're not gonna win a lot of games.
Okay, so what? Okay, I get that, but what if the Jets were to go 7-9 with young talent? What if you're proven wrong and you see that?
Awesome, cool. Prove me wrong. Awesome.
Listen, I would want the Jets not to tank the season away. Listen, if they go 7-9, then listen, it's with a rebuilding team. Okay, I don't want them to tank. I'm not letting them waste their season away. I don't want it to happen. I'm
David,
sorry.
do you honestly think Christian Hackenberg and Bryce Petty are leading up to 7-9?
Hey, they could. You never know.
Yeah, Peyton Manning could come out of retirement and bring us to the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, Kyle.
David, to put this in perspective, right? You are Rex Ryan in 2014, I think 2014, against the Titans. Against the Titans.
Okay.
Why did we win that game? Because we wanted to do what was best for the current roster at the current time, and we weren't thinking about the future. And you know what that cost us, David? David, you know what that cost us?
Well, we got the 6th pick in the draft, and now we have
Marcus freaking Mariota. That's what it cost us.
Okay, well, Marcus Mariota could have been different if he actually went to the Jets. I mean, Marcus Mariota is a very good player with now elite talent around him, but if he went to the Jets...
What? Did you just say he has elite talent around him?
Not elite talent, but good talent. That's what I'm saying.
No. Name one wide receiver on that roster.
Let's see. He's actually helped someone like Rashard Matthews. He has Delaney Walker, DeMarco Murray.
That's a tight end. Their running game is good. I'll give them that. And their offensive line is good. Their receiving core is trash. Well, Rashard Matthews is the only notable guy who's a number 3 for anybody team in the NFL, including the Jets. That's trash.
Who else?
They have Delaney Walker, a solid running game, and a solid O-line.
That doesn't mean
it's probably a top 15 O-line. It's probably a top 10 running game. It's probably a bottom 25 wide receiver core. And Delaney Walker, he's just good. I wouldn't consider him elite, but he's very good.
Okay, well, I get your point, but that doesn't mean that doesn't change my point that I want the Jets to tank the season. Okay, if they go 3-13 next year, then it is whatever. But so
it's not a matter of tanking. We're just gonna suck. I mean, look at our schedule next year. We gotta play the NFC Championship Falcons, Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, Drew Brees in a dome, minus Brandon Cooks, of course. Jameis Winston, Deshaun Jackson, and Mike Evans.
Kyle, I know our schedule. I'm not saying we're going to be a 10-6 or an 11-5 team, but I'm saying I don't want the Jets to just go out there and just waste a pointless season. Like, I mean, if we
I don't think we will. It's just a matter that we won't be good.
Okay. well, then don't really just expect us to go 3-13 and just want Sam Darnold in the draft.
Why not?
It's not going to happen, Kyle.
This is why the season ticket owners are crazy. You're speaking from your heart and not from your brain right now, David. That's what's happening.
Bring on a caller, Kyle.
All right, we're gonna bring on Tyler. He's a man of few words, but I hope he speaks up tonight because we just had a fairly decent argument. Tyler, thanks for coming on, my man. What's going on?
Not much, man. I'm ready for them fiery takes.
Absolutely. All right, you've been on for about 15, 20 minutes on the line waiting. So you just listened to our argument. Don't know how much you picked up off of it. Were you listening?
Yes.
All right, what are your thoughts?
Hackenberg is not ready. Give him another year. Petty, he could be ready, but I'm sure he'll be a backup.
Okay. So as of right now, those are the two quarterbacks on our roster, and I'm going to presume those are the ones going in the training camp. So would you be open to realizing that we're not going to have a good year and hoping that we don't do good and we get a quarterback and a very good quarterback draft next year?
I agree with you, Kyle. I think it's going to be – I think we're going to have a garbage season, 3-13, like you said. And we're going to take the season, probably.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. Again with this nonsense with tanking the season. I don't – why do you guys want them to tank? Don't you want them to actually thrive with young talent we have now?
Suck. We don't have an O-line. We don't have cornerbacks. So what's the point?
Yeah, as of now,
I would say that about the O-line, but we don't have corners, and I don't think we're going to... The cornerback draft is very deep, but what I'll say about it is, unless it's a guy like Quincy Wilson, I don't see a really, really good number one. And I think Quincy Wilson at 6 is a reach. I don't like Marshawn Lattimore. Only played numerous hamstring injuries, got hurt at the combine once again, hip flexor, only played 1 year at Ohio State, and he's just a freak athlete. He's not really a cover corner. He's a freak athlete. And, that's awesome. He could probably be a really good number 2 in the NFL. Maybe even a slot guy. I don't know. I don't think he's the number 1, though. I can't trust him to be healthy. You know what probably the most important body part on a corner is?
What?
Probably a hamstring. Got to bend down at the line. Got to get ready to press when you're playing press. When you're playing zone, you got to immediately do a back turn sprint. That was probably a bad way to phrase that, but when you're turning back and your hip and your hamstrings are moving, and if he pulls the hamstring, he gets hurt or he's hurt, and then he's out for the year. I don't want that at 6. And he's proven that 3 times in a season and 1 time at the combine, not even getting hit. So that's very concerning to me.
Oh, well, I remember watching film review, though, on Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, I saw he did actually have some good press skills in my mind. I think he's a pretty decent ball hawk, and I think the injury concerns are actually just giving me questions about drafting Marshawn Lattimore. But if we were to go to the draft, I mean, I'm at number 1. I would probably go someone like Jamal Adams or even Malik Hooker if he's still there, or hopefully maybe even Myles Garrett if he could possibly be there. I mean, this 6th pick, like I've said numerous times, it can change your franchise, and we've had that when we drafted Leonard Williams in 2015. Now, actually kind of wanted to ask Tyler and Kyle. I wanted to ask you guys another question, and this was from a very interesting debate last night. Would you consider taking O.J. Howard at number 6?
No.
The tight end?
Yes.
At number 6?
At number 6. It was a very interesting debate.
I don't think so. Maybe a 3rd round.
Exactly.
What? A 3rd round on O.J. Howard?
No, he's saying draft a tight end in the 3rd round.
Oh, okay. I thought he meant draft him in the 3rd round. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. At number 6, he's a top 10 talent, but tight end isn't that big, honestly.
Exactly. I mean, I did hear some points that, like, I mean, if you are having a young quarterback starting next year, then you could have a weapon, a 6'6", great big body tight end like O.J. Howard come in and actually fulfill the duties for that young quarterback, or at least
we have that guy. He just won't be there for the first 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, exactly. And honestly, in my opinion, if you were to draft a tight end or even go for O.J. Howard, if you were to go for O.J. Howard, in my opinion, I would probably trade down, or I would actually agree with you guys in this case, because this tight end draft class is very, very stacked. I would probably wait till the 3rd or 4th round to draft a good tight end, when we could be using our top 1st round, 2nd round draft picks to actually possibly fill holes we could actually need. Now, actually, I actually kind of want to go into
You said actually like 5 times in that sentence.
Yes, I tend to get very repetitive, Kyle. But actually, Tyler, I wanted to get your takes on the signings that we have, Chandler Catanzaro and Kelvin Beachum. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Jets bringing them in was a good idea?
I think Beachum was a good idea, and I don't know about our kicker. I don't see any of his highlights, so I don't know.
Because there really aren't any, honestly.
Well,
he's not a very good kicker.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he struggled in a dome in Arizona, one of the places with the least amount of wind. Even when
Ross Martin.
Ross Martin is on a future reserves contract with the Jets currently, so he will be in training camp.
Well, then again, though, when you bring in someone like Chandler Catanzaro, I mean, I actually watched this film review, and I've seen him kicking 50-yard field goals, 60-yard field goals. I mean, he's actually had a great year.
In a dome. But what did he do in 2016, though? He missed, I think they said 12 extra points, and he missed, 5 or 6 field goals. That's not good. In a dome.
Okay, well, all kickers miss field goals. I mean, no kicker is perfect. But
he's not even close to perfect. He's not even good.
So who would you want a kicker, Kyle?
Steven Gostkowski.
Be realistic.
Probably Zane Gonzalez from Arizona in the draft. He's one of the best collegiate kickers of all time, and I think we could get him in the 7th round or an undrafted free agent.
I would probably I was actually thinking the same thing, drafting a kicker at in the draft, probably the 6th or 7th round. But you never know what could happen. But Tyler, I got one more question for you. We actually had quite a bit of re-signings. Josh Martin, Corey Lemonnier. We even re-signed our long snapper. What are your thoughts on that?
Tanner Purdom for president. I don't know. It's pretty funny.
What do I think?
Yes.
They're good deals. Cheap. That's all I can say.
What about the players?
About the players?
Yeah.
They're average. Solid.
All right.
Really?
All right, what do you think about the whole Dont'e Hightower situation?
I think that's a terrible idea.
Okay. Well, he did sign with the Patriots today. So, I mean, the idea is over with.
Well, there's actually some breaking news, Kyle. Zach Brown, who we want to sign, he's actually set to visit the Raiders, and he is now in Oakland, as Ian Rappaport reports. So, Zach Brown might be signing with the Raiders, but he's visiting with them right now.
He's probably going to sign with them. That's a much better option for him.
Exactly, and I think he'll probably want to fit in with that crazy defense that the Raiders have. But, Tyler, any last comments?
Yeah, about the whole Jay Cutler situation. I think it's a very terrible idea. If they end up signing him, Mac and Bowles will go bye-bye.
From Earth or from their jobs?
From their jobs.
Okay.
Well, that depends. I probably think Bowles will be gone by the end of next year. It depends on how the season goes. If he plays the clueless game again, but we'll see.
All right, Tyler, why don't you go ahead and give us all your social media?
Yeah, I'll start off with my Instagram. Thanks for following me, David. It's the White Geno Smith.
Oh my God.
And my
is that seriously your name?
89. Wait, what?
Is that seriously your name?
Yeah, no, I just made it up. And my Twitter name is @thejettake896. Thanks for having me, Kyle.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on.
Have a good night, Tyler.
All right.
David, I like how he said, thanks for having me on, Kyle, and just, completely ignored you.
That was a little bit. That's okay. I mean, he's Tyler, and he lives his life, and he does what he wants. But there were some points that Tyler did bring up, though. I mean, I think if Jay Cutler does come into the Jets, I mean, would you actually think Mike Maccagnan would really lose his job?
Yeah.
Really?
The backlash from the fans would be very, very bad.
Well, then again, Mike Maccagnan has had a lot of instances where he's been pretty much pressured by the fans and the media with signing Muhammad Wilkerson and signing Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, honestly, I think that Mike Maccagnan is pretty much doing a good thing by listening to the fans, really, in a sort of perspective. So, I don't think that Jay Cutler will be brought in here. But if he does, then I'm saying goodbye to my season tickets, especially if we overpay him and we give him like a Ryan Fitzpatrick deal. God forbid.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin for listening to the show but not calling in, because we're going to talk about Let's Talk Jets for a minute right now. Sorry to the callers that are on hold. We'll get to you in a second. Let's talk about Let's Talk Jets, specifically the Tyson Roche, the one and only, the great one, said about the Jet take. David, do you happen to have the soundbite ready? Do you have that?
No, I'm really not involved with this, so Kyle,
all right.
You can say what you want.
All right, so I got to bring my microphone closer. Let's explain this. Our good friend, our good buddy Justin, he has some questionable takes from time to time. He called into, the wonderful show Let's Talk Jets, hosted by Tyson Roche and Long Beach Joe, good buddies of ours. And, Tyson made a remark that you need to stop calling into the Jet take. You're waffling too much. We don't waffle, all right? Me and Ben don't waffle. David may waffle behind the scenes. That's David. Kevin's already called him out for that tonight. David, I'm pretty sure he tagged you in something, or it said you're waffling or something of that. But the Jet take does not waffle. Let's make that official. And I don't want to make a war out of this or anything, but let's just not throw labels out there. All right, for talk shows, let's not do that.
Okay, well, I don't want my Twitter blowing up, so this is all Kyle. I had nothing to do with this, so if Dyson and Joe, you guys are listening to this, just
oh no beef towards Joe. Joe's awesome. He didn't say that.
Well, yeah, but just don't leave me out of things. But seems like we got another great caller on the line right now.
I'm going to classify him as great. No, I'm joking. Ryan, we're going to bring on our good friend Ryan. Ryan, what's going on, my man?
What's up, guys? How are we doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty well. It's cold outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here in Florida, and it's like 50 degrees, and I'm pretty cold, honestly.
It is cold. I hope you enjoyed your snow day, dude.
I did. Same to you.
So I've never had one of those in my life. We have hurricane days, but those usually equal mass destruction. So.
Well, let's talk about some Jets football. So, Ryan, what is your take on the Jets nearly making Dont'e Hightower the highest paid inside linebacker in the NFL?
Hold on, let me hit some vocals first. Hell no to the no, no, no. Hell to the no. All right, I'm not Beyonce, so Joe.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we didn't. Obviously, there was mixed reports all day about, how much we offered and then how, were we in the running of the sweepstakes. I've seen, multiple reports saying that we were the favorites or we offered the most. And then, a few hours later, it was reported that the Jets pulled their offer after he left the building. So there's definitely different reports out there. Would I have been glad to bring him in as a player? Yes, but not for the money he was looking for. We definitely would have had to overpay. New England gave him close to $11 million. The Jets definitely would have had to give him 12 or 13 just to, even land him. So, and does he deserve to be paid more than Luke Kuechly? Definitely not. They're not. For me, they're not even in the same class. So,
Wow.
It kind of sucks that we miss out on a player like Hightower, but there's still quality options like Zach Brown and Kevin Minter. So I'm glad we didn't make Hightower the highest paid inside linebacker.
I agree.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Ryan. And I want to thank you for calling in, man. And it is agreeable that I'm glad that we didn't sign Dont'e Hightower as well because a guy who constantly starts for an elite team like the New England Patriots, I don't think he would want to leave, and he probably would not come to New York either way, especially with what we're offering him. But I actually want to go into another position. I want to go into this wide receiver position. Looking at Eric Decker, happy birthday to him, by the way. What do you expect out of Eric Decker and Quincy Nunwa next year if the Jets were to bring in someone like Jake Cutler?
Well, I'm expecting, big things from Quincy Nunwa, no matter who's playing quarterback. Obviously, hopefully it's a serviceable person. But, I hope Quincy, blossoms, develops more. Obviously, as fans, we want him to become the next big thing, become a reliable, hopefully number one. I don't know if that'll happen, but I definitely think he'll, improve and get better. I'm happy we're getting Decker back. Hopefully, he returns to, his full health and he's able to get on the field because obviously Decker's a big, red zone guy. He's good. He's a quarterback's best friend. He runs over the middle, great route runner, and consistent in the red zone. So that's going to help who's ever playing quarterback here. And it's probably going to open the field for, hopefully guys like Robbie Anderson, hopefully Devin Smith if he can stay on the field. And, I'm kind of excited about our receivers. Obviously, right now it looks like we're lacking a true number one, but there's definitely some young talent here. And, hopefully, since there's not actually a true number one here, that, they get their reps, they develop, and, the wide receiver position looks pretty bright. I wouldn't mind bringing in the guy like, Andre Holmes if the money's, right, just for a red zone, another red zone guy. I think he did okay in Oakland, but, we're not going to draft one, I don't think, in the first round, but I wouldn't mind bringing in a late round wide receiver if it's good talent. So
yeah, absolutely. I think like you said, the current core that we have right now, though it may be good, I don't think we have a number one. And I think Ben and I got into a little bit of an argument over that last week. Ryan, I don't know if you called in last week. Thank you if you did. If you didn't, not thank you. I'm open to drafting Mike Williams at 6. I'd rather not, but if guys like Malik Hooker and Reuben Foster are gone, I'd definitely be interested.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't. Sorry to cut you off, David. I wouldn't mind taking Mike Williams. He's very, very talented, And if the Jets feel that he's going to be a star in this league like an A.J. Green or Des Bryant, some of the comparisons he's getting, then you can't be upset at the pick. But, with the talent we have and the positions that we need, like safety, corner, you could trade back for, maybe even quarterback if the Jets go that route. There's so many other needs here that, it doesn't make sense taking a wide receiver that early unless we think that he's going to be the next big thing.
Well, yeah, Ryan, I agree with you 100%. And this is actually the reason why I didn't want Brandon Marshall gone, because he was the best depth for that number one wide receiver spot, and he was a true number one. And right now we don't really have that because I just think Decker and Quincy Nunwa have that ability to play number 2, number 3 in that altering way. And if you were to draft Mike Williams and he were to possibly play number 1 or possibly alter around with Decker a little bit here and there, I actually wouldn't be upset about the pick, but I wouldn't be too excited because, you would have other picks like Malik Hooker or maybe Reuben Foster or Jamal Adams sitting there at number 6 and just seize your opportunity to draft that franchise player that you could have, like Leonard Williams, who is now developing to be a franchise player for the Jets. Hopefully it won't be like a Muhammad Wilkerson kind of standout. But, other news, actually, this might go a little bit off topic, but Darrelle Revis, all charges are dropped. former Jets corner star, got accused for assault and terrorist threats.
He's making Chris Carter happy, I'll tell you that.
Exactly, but Darrelle Revis now all charges dropped, and now he wants to play with Pittsburgh. As a Jet fan, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, first of all, I didn't think Revis was guilty of it. The video. I mean, obviously we don't know Revis personally, but from
David
hearing him in hearing him in pre-games and everything, that doesn't sound like him at all. So and Revis has been pretty quiet, classy dude off the field, so you wouldn't suspect that's him. I know you brought up the Chris Carter, the fall guy thing, but well, that could be true. We don't know fully, but I still don't think that's Revis, and I think that the charges were rightfully dropped. But if he went to Pittsburgh, we would get some of the money back, David. So
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't mind it. So
depending on how much he gets, that's how much money we would make off of.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad for us because we're not going anywhere this year. So why not get more cap space and roll over for next year?
Yeah.
Or put some of that if we want to sign a mid-tier guy, that helps too. So the more money, I guess, the better for us.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, Mac would get a lot more respect. A lot of people would say, "Hey, look at him. He got this contract, didn't necessarily pan out, but he found an out 2 years into it, or 3 years."
Yeah, exactly. Which is very on Darrelle Revis like. So he definitely he got the best out of Revis if we can get, especially if he signs somewhere else and we get majority of it back, which we did get majority of it back, but still there's $6 million that I think we lost. So if we can even cut it down to 3 or something like that, then it's a huge, that's really good by Mac.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, 100% agree with you, Ryan. But, Jets actually also had a couple of signings, Calvin Beachum and Chandler Catanzaro. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was very happy about Beachum. We've been talking about possible left tackles for the last few weeks, and some of these guys like Okung, Whitworth, they kind of got huge contracts, and Beachum's 20. I think he's gonna be 28. So I think he was the most realistic option for us. Probably the best one for us in terms of going forward in the future for the next couple of years. Hopefully, he returns to his Pittsburgh form where he was good. Obviously last year's coming off his ACL injury, so usually it takes somebody at least 2 years to, fully recover. So hopefully hopefully he's back to full health now and he returns to his Pittsburgh days, because that'll be a huge get for us. And if he can return to his Pittsburgh days, our offensive line, Beachum would actually be the oldest starter, so we're pretty set there for the next couple of years if he can get back to his old self.
Yeah, that would be great. And, like I said, Blake Bortles doesn't make a lot of offensive linemen, especially left tackles, look good. So hopefully he looks a little better in, hunter green and not that ugly green that the Jaguars have.
And I forgot to mention the kicker from Arizona. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but obviously last year.
Chandler Catanzaro.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but his first 2 years were pretty decent. I know last year he came off a pretty bad year, but he definitely has a strong leg. And he's 26 years old, I believe. So, and it's a pretty decent pickup. Obviously battle out with hopefully Ross Martin in training camp, and we'll see who wins it there. But I think we definitely needed to bring in a kicker here because obviously Ross Martin didn't really perform well in the light last year in preseason, so it's good to have some competition there.
Yeah, they didn't really cut the cake well last year in camp. And speaking of cake, let's talk about Dont'e Hightower. Jets pulled out all the stops for him, didn't get him. What are your thoughts on it?
Like I said earlier, I don't think he was worth, paying as the highest paid inside linebacker in the league. He's definitely behind, a little, not a little. He's definitely, maybe top 5 inside linebacker, but he's definitely way behind a guy like Luke Kuechly, who's getting 12 currently. So like I said, if we were going to, take him away from the Patriots, who offered close to 11, we definitely would have had to make him the highest paid inside linebacker. So I'm definitely glad we didn't go that route. It definitely would have been great to, steal him away from the Patriots, but sometimes, the price is too much, and it's not worth the investment, especially, the guys like Zach Brown are still out there, Kevin Minter, even Hodges from the Niners, so there's definitely good options out there still.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Well, there is one other thing I wanted to ask you, Ryan. You were talking about Kelvin Beecham's ACL injury and how it does take 2 years to fully recover from it. And one player who is recovering from an ACL injury in 2000, Smith. We were expecting to see something out of him, but unfortunately, we didn't expect much out of him last year. Do you expect him to come back and provide a slightest bit of impact if he were to finally get healthy this season?
Yeah, I definitely do expect him to at least contribute this year. I mean, he's really been a non-factor the last year and a half. Even his rookie year wasn't strong before he tore his ACL. But, this time, hopefully he'll get a full training camp, something he's never had. Get some chemistry with who's ever playing quarterback here. And, he's a very talented guy if he can just stay on the field. Second-round pick, pretty big guy from Ohio State coming out. So, I'm excited, see what he can finally show us. And hopefully he stays healthy and just puts it all together.
Well, yeah, Ryan, I agree with you 100% about that. And, Devin Smith really needs to have a whole training camp. And, honestly, I mean, he's had a couple of injuries, but Devin Smith really does have a chance to prove himself in his third year. And I think he could provide a good impact if he has his full training camp, if he fully recovers, and he shows what scouts said about him to be worthy of a second-round pick. Big body receiver, deep threat out of, Ohio State, Kyle?
Yep.
Yeah, it was at Ohio State. And he did play in a good college system, and I think we need to give Devin Smith one more chance to prove himself and to be worthy, just like Calvin Pryor. I mean, if we were to stick with him at the strong safety spot, I'm not saying it would be nice. I'm not saying I would want him to start again, but I'm saying he deserves one more chance, because wanting is very different than thinking someone should just have another year to prove himself. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously before free agency started, me and Kyle were kind of Team Jefferson, bring in Tony Jefferson, draft Malik Hooker maybe at 6, and then, trade Pryor, but we kind
missed out.
We missed out on Jefferson, so right now it kind of looks like we're going to have to, roll another year with Pryor, which necessarily isn't always a bad thing. Hopefully he can prove himself this year and get better.
Oh, it is.
But, I mean, I was going to bring up this point to you guys. Is there anyone, now that we're in the mid-tier for agency, is there anyone you guys are looking at specifically, Kyle? But before I let you answer that, we could always bring in a guy like T.J. McDonald, Bradley McDougall, cut Gilchrist, and even trade Pryor. I mean, because at 6, I mean, I think at least one of the safeties will be there, whether it's Adams or Hooker. I think, one will fall to us. So, and that's who I'm expecting us to take. So, Gilchrist and Pryor could still be out of here, honestly.
Yeah, and out of the two, it's hard. I think Adams is the better prospect, but Hooker, it's rare when a free safety like that appears. It's hard to compare him and to really anybody in the NFL. Production-wise, it will probably be towards Earl Thomas type of spectrum at the free safety position, but I could probably say the same thing about Jamal Adams. He could probably be a Cam Chancellor-like, so I think you're winning either way, but I'd rather get a really good free safety than a really good strong safety.
Yeah, those are exactly my thoughts. I mean, free safeties are pretty rare in the league. There's only about, Earl Thomas, maybe Eric Weddle, Devin McCourty.
Yeah.
There's not that many you can name, maybe 5 on your hand, barely even. Those are the type of impact players that teams are looking for always. So if we can get a guy like Malik Hooker, that's my number one guy on my board.
See, right now my number one guy is O.J. Howard, but I haven't gotten to everybody.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind O.J. Howard, but I would want to maybe trade down a few picks and then, stock up and then take him. I think 6 is maybe a little bit too high, but, he's definitely a very talented guy, and I'm not going to complain if we select him.
I'd be open to trading with the Saints to pick up that 11 and 32 pick if they want number 6. They want to go get Solomon Thomas or something. I mean,
maybe they come up for a quarterback. That would be great for us if we can get 2 first-round picks. That would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and then obviously
with this draft class, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe Sheldon will get a 3rd. So stock up on picks. The more, the better.
Yeah.
But going back to my question, Kyle, who are some of the, and David, both of you, who are some of the mid-tier guys you're still looking at? Because obviously, I think we still need to bring in a veteran quarterback. I don't know who that's going to be, but, the quarterback market's drying up. Maybe a veteran corner as well. Guys like Brandon Carr are still out there. So, who are some of the guys you're still looking at? Hope that we get.
I mean, I honestly can't really think of the guy I want. Maybe Gerald Hodges. I like his versatility. Just add a little depth to the linebacking core. But honestly, besides that, I'm not that interested in Brandon Carr. He's toward the end of his career. He had a decent year last year, but it was plagued with injuries, I believe. And Zach Brown's probably headed to Oakland. Kevin Minter, I think he's going to the Colts. So, I mean, there's not really guys who are left that I would honestly consider valuable to the Jets right now.
David, do you have anyone in mind?
Well, just pretty much just looking at this free agency board right now, it is a little rough now that big name free agents we wanted are gone, like Tony Jefferson. But however, I might have actually had a slight thought on Dont'e Poe.
No.
I mean,
no.
Hey.
Hey, I mean, he can play running back for us. I think he runs a faster 40 than Matt Forte, honestly.
Let's hear him out, Kyle.
Okay,
Go ahead, David.
Okay.
Go ahead, David. Let's hear.
Well, listen, if Sheldon Richardson's going to be gone, I honestly just if you can get Dont'e Poe for a good price, then I would probably bring him in to actually be a great replacement for Sheldon Richardson. But knowing that Dont'e Poe, I mean, I honestly consider him an amazing player, and I would actually think he would actually provide a lot of depth for our defensive line. But if we're just going to try to overpay him, or if he's going to want a lot of money, then it's not worth it. But, I mean, that's just something I was sort of keeping my eye on in case we were to get him for a good price. But I'm also looking at Kevin Minter, who did have actually a pretty decent year with I believe 11.5 sacks. Lots of mid-tier free agents on here right now that I'm really not looking for. I mean, maybe even Geno Smith, actually. I would probably bring it back for another year.
Kevin Minter had 11.5 sacks?
Yeah, I think I
No.
not too long ago.
I don't think that's right.
No, he didn't. I think he had 94 tackles.
That may be in his career.
No, I think I was mistaking him for Nick Perry. I apologize, but
yeah.
Yeah, I was probably doing that. But I would probably maybe even bring back Geno Smith for another year if that could be the case. But those are good. Those are pretty solid options in my opinion.
David, I don't want to bring you down on Dont'e Poe, but he's not going to replace Sheldon Richardson because Dont'e Poe is a nose tackle. He's not even a defensive tackle. That man does really one job and one job only. He is a heavier, slower Damon Harrison.
So who would you want to replace Sheldon Richardson then?
I think we have everybody on the roster to replace him right now. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I'll trade Sheldon. I'll kick out Leo to defensive end. I think he's more versatile there than he is at defensive tackle, even though he made the Pro Bowl there. Wilkerson at the other defensive end. And then in the middle, it would probably be Deion Simon and Lawrence Thomas. And Steve McClendon.
Are you cutting McClendon? Yeah. That's what I'm bringing up.
He hasn't been cut yet. I personally would cut him for space, but I guess the Jets aren't. So still, you have 3 guys in the middle who can do a very serviceable job.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think we're pretty set. I mean, if we wanted to draft one in the later rounds, I'm all for it, just for depth purposes. But for right now, I think we're okay. Obviously Sheldon was misused here, and there wasn't really room for him in the first place. We tried, at the whole outside linebacker experiment didn't work. And I definitely hear you about Dont'e Poe, but he's going to get paid at least $7-8 million. And like Kyle said, he's strictly a nose tackle, and I'm hearing that he's going to get $7-8 million per year, which is close to Sheldon's salary, and that's not worth it for us. We have a young guy in Simon who looked pretty good last year. McClendon was pretty solid. He's no Harrison, but he was at least solid. So I think we're pretty set on the defensive line. Some of the mid-tier guys I'm kind of looking at right now, even though, like you said, Carr is coming to the end of his career. He did have a solid year last year. I wouldn't mind signing him to a 1 or 2 year deal just because, we have our secondary is kind of it's bad right now, if we're being completely honest at this moment. We like Burris, but all 4 of the guys in secondary, Marcus Williams, Buster Street, Justin Burris, and Darryl Roberts, they're question marks right now. There's no proven starters. Buster Street was pretty bad last year. Same thing with Marcus Williams. Roberts, did some good things, but also was, beat a lot. So we have no proven starters. I think we definitely need a veteran. Obviously, the draft's pretty loaded, so we're going to add a corner or 2 in the draft, but I think we definitely need a veteran there. I wouldn't mind moving on from David Harris. I love David Harris, but, he's on the last year of his contract, and there's better options right there in free agency with Hodges, Zach Brown, or Kevin Minter, any of those 3. The younger, they'll be here for, at least 3 to 4 years, unlike Harris. So I wouldn't mind moving on from him. Even safeties, like I said, we still got guys like T.J. McDonald out there, Bradley McDougall from Tampa. If we want to move, I don't even know why Marcus Gilchrist is still here. He's a nice guy and everything.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's a nice guy and everything, but he had the Victor Cruz injury in Week 14, so there's absolutely no way he's coming back until the end of next season, if even makes it to the, even if that's if he has a fast recovery. So I don't know what he's doing on this roster still, but maybe we're waiting for a replacement to sign. That's a pretty big question mark to me why he hasn't been released.
Yeah, you brought up the corners, and what I'll say about the cornerback position, I think the number 2 we're set on. Between, the 4 guys that we have in that stable, Marcus Williams, Justin Burris, Darryl Roberts, and I guess I would have Screen as my slot or nickel guy.
Agreed.
I think we're set at those
agreed.
2 positions. We just really need a number 1 corner. So you give me a number 1 corner and you draft Malik Hooker. I think he complements Calvin Pryor really well. I think he brings the best out of him. I don't know. That secondary could be good if you get Malik Hooker and a number 1 corner. I know that's asking a lot, but, we're rebuilding, so I guess we have time.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Go ahead, David. My bad.
So Kyle, you're expecting someone like Quincy Wilson to be a potential number 1 corner for the Jets.
He is my number 1 corner in this draft.
Would you take him at 6?
No.
Yes?
No.
No? You trade down, or are you looking for the 2nd round pick?
I would trade down to get a number 1 corner this year.
All right. That's pretty respectable. Obviously, this cornerback draft is pretty loaded, but, asking a guy to come in day 1 and be the number 1 corner is very tough. Very few corners can do it. So I think, even though, like you said, out of those 4 people, or 3, because you have Buster in the slot, which I definitely agree with, he's not an outside corner. I definitely still think we need a veteran, even if they're not, starter. I think these guys need someone in the film room, and obviously Morris Claiborne's still out there. I don't know what he's looking at for his price, but I can't imagine him going over $8 million, $7 million, around somewhere around there, which isn't too bad. He's still young. If it comes down to we need to sign a veteran, Brandon Carr, Sam Shields, if he's still going to play, I definitely do think we need at least 1 veteran in here.
I don't disagree with you, Ryan.
Neither do I, because because not only would you want to really bring a veteran in here for depth purposes, you also want to bring them in here for potential leadership, like someone like Decker has, David Harris has, and that's something we need on this team. So, with a rebuilding team, you gotta have a few veterans here and there. And I did want Brandon Marshall to stay because I thought he was a good veteran. There were some problems here and there, but Brandon Marshall actually had the true depth at that number 1 receiver spot, and he was actually somewhat of a decent leader to the young receivers, and he loved playing with the young receivers. So now he can enjoy his time playing with Odell Beckham Jr. and Eli Manning and whatnot, and the Giants.
He'll come out and say Eli's elite 2 days in the training camp.
David.
What?
I was going to say, Marshall did ask for the release, right? Because we offered him a 3-year extension. So.
Yeah, I know. But
I have a question for you guys. Speaking of Eli, do you guys consider him elite?
No.
God, no, definitely not. Terrible.
I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks ever. I mean, he has.
I agree.
I think
I don't know why people always say he's great. I don't get it. He's not. He's not great at all.
He's really
Whenever
not.
they win, they're carried by the defense.
Exactly. Thank you.
In the 2 Super Bowl wins, he was carried by the defense, and I will say he made some really good plays. I will not take that away from him. And then this year, probably one of their best years since the last Super Bowl win. What was their defense like? Phenomenal.
Their defense, yeah, exactly, phenomenal.
Exactly.
Eli is holding them back. Well, Eli just gets credit for his playoffs. He had some spectacular moments in the playoffs, but honestly, the regular season quarterback, Eli Manning,
every playoff game except the ones in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Eli Manning is right around average to below average, but he does have some spectacular moments that you can't take away from him. But to call him elite is just crazy. I mean, he really held them back last year, to be honest. I mean, that team looked like they were ready for a Super Bowl run. You got Odell Beckham on offense, Sterling Shepard, and phenomenal defense. I mean, I understand his offensive line was terrible and the run game is bad, but to have a guy like Odell Beckham on your offense, there's really no excuses, and a phenomenal defense that was like top 3. They should have made it in the playoffs.
They probably should have.
And to clarify, I meant the only ones he has in the playoffs are those Super Bowl years, not the Super Bowl games, because obviously they have to play in the championships, just to clarify.
So since we're speaking of quarterbacks, what do you guys think of, should we sign a veteran, or do you guys want to draft one, or go in with Petty or Hackenberg? What are your guys' thoughts?
I would draft. Go ahead, David.
Well, I'm a little torn, but I'm more or less towards signing someone I'm actually more or less sort of drafting at this point. But then again, signing a veteran would be a good option because, if you bring in a veteran and then you draft a guy, have some quarterback competition, because I honestly think competition is what is really needed in this organization. But the problem with that is, though, I don't really think the Jets need to have a 4 quarterback system again. So, would you actually consider signing a veteran and drafting one and cutting Petty?
Yes, for sure. I would definitely consider it. I think we definitely need to sign a veteran. Petty when he did play last year, he kind of looked like a career backup. Obviously we hope he takes the next step if he's going to start this year, but I wouldn't bank on it. He's also coming off a torn labrum in his shoulder, so I don't even know when he's going to be healthy by. And Hackenberg, definitely a project. He looked terrible in the preseason outside of that one drive, his opening drive against the Giants. So, and now he's getting a new offense, so he's definitely not going to be able to start this year. So, we definitely need to sign a veteran, I think, and my option would probably be Geno Smith. Some of these other guys out there, their prices, like, Cutler's his price is going to be pretty high, or a decent price at least, and you don't really want that type of guy in your locker room. He's known to not care. So you don't want that for the young guys, for sure. So Geno Smith, I think, knows these guys, some of these guys like Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson. There's got to be some type of chemistry there, and he's still young, so I wouldn't mind giving him a 1-year prove-it deal. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But, I think you definitely should at least try it. Okay,
well, Ryan, I actually do agree with you there. I mean, bringing in Geno Smith is an option, especially since you would probably bring it back for a 1-year, $7-8 million deal, and then
maybe 5 or 6, probably cheaper because he just tore an ACL.
I go
I honestly don't think quarterbacks really come that cheap. But breaking news, according to a source, and this is confirmed by Ian Rappaport on the NFL Network, and Mo Caliborn, he is now trying to choose between the Jets and the Ravens.
Who? Morris Claiborne?
Morris Claiborne.
Morris Claiborne.
He actually had a pretty decent year last year. I believe he got injured, though.
Yeah, he did. I think I brought him up earlier on the show, Kyle.
So. Yeah, I think he did.
What I was saying earlier is he's 27 years old, and the light bulb really came on last year. So if we were able to land him, then that would be amazing, honestly. I love Morris Claiborne. So, I mean, we talked about him for weeks, before, that if we missed out on some of these upper-tier guys like Gilmore and Boye because of their price tag, then why not take a flyer on a guy like Claiborne who's 27 years old, and if we get him here on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he proves himself this year and stays healthy, then you have a good corner. You know, you have at least a solid number 2. You know, and with this draft class coming up, to have at least one solid option there, you know, plus guys like Burris and all these good guys, good depth pieces behind them, I would definitely try to get Claiborne. I'd be very happy.
Yeah, going back to the quarterback thing, I didn't really get to answer it. I would sign Geno Smith because I think he's familiar with, you know, the guys on the roster, and I draft Brad Kaya. He is really impressing me as of late. I raved about his mental makeup and him running the pro-style offense in Miami, and I was watching a little bit of the Gruden camp today, and he was showing a lot of decent arm strength, something that was one of the biggest flaws in my mind with him, and some sneaky athleticism from him as well. So I'd probably take a flyer on him in the 4th or 5th round, kind of like we did with Petty a couple years back, and see where it takes us.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what did you say, Brad Kaya?
Yeah.
You know, I've heard some decent things about him. I can't say that I watched a lot about him, but if, like I said before, if we feel very strongly about a quarterback of the future, definitely take him. But, you know, please stop with these projects because we've already have 2 of them on the roster. So if Kaya, like I said, I don't know much about him, but if he's going to be another project, Kyle, then, you know, I prefer, honestly, not to draft him.
Well, then you're not going to like him.
It's not that I don't like a project. It's just like we have 2 of them, so why add a third? You know, like are you going to carry?
I think he would beat out Petty in camp. So
really,
he might.
Yeah, honestly, the thing about Petty has all the talent in the world, even a pretty decent mobile quarterback, except you know when Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh are coming at him. Really, that joke didn't hit. I thought that was pretty funny. Guess not. But Brad Kaya's mental makeup is he ran that pro-style offense in Miami for 3.5 years, working with some NFL-level talent, guys like David Njoku, who's coming out in this year's draft class. I think he'll just understand the offense more than Bryce Petty will. Bryce Petty may have a bigger arm, but I'd rather have a guy who's going to understand where to throw the ball than a guy who can get it to you.
I can see your point there, Kyle.
If that makes, I think I phrased that a little weirdly.
I could definitely see your point because I mean, Petty looked like a career backup this year. I mean, obviously, you know, it's his first start. We always knew he was going to be a project quarterback out of Baylor. But I mean, what did you see from Kyle this year?
Trash, overthrowing Robbie Anderson, barely getting it to Robbie Anderson, a missed touchdown, and a bag of chips. I think that was towards the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that harsh because, you know, obviously we knew he's a project. He wasn't put in the best situation. The Jets as a team this year just sucked. But he didn't really do much to show us that he's going to be the answer at the same time, to put it in more respectful terms.
Agreed. Petty, in my opinion, is just not good. I mean, pretty much from what I saw out of him this year, I mean, he was missing open targets, and receivers had to go up and make plays on his throw. So his accuracy, I think, in my opinion, was just very, very off. And I don't think that Petty will be the answer. I mean, he had his games to develop, but unfortunately, I just don't see him as the answer. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Which is probably why we need a veteran as well.
Exactly.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much for calling in, man. Go ahead and give us all your social media.
All right, guys, thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast. You know, we had a wild talk about things. If you guys want to follow me, you can follow me at NY_JetsNation98. And I'll talk to you guys next week, all right? Hopefully we'll have Claiborne by then.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
All right, thanks for being on. And that was our good friend Ryan, who had a fairly lengthy discussion with us today. No comment on that, David?
No, sorry. I just had to promote the tweet, but Ryan did have a lot of very interesting points, and you know, I agree with him on a lot of things he said, especially with the quarterback situation. You know, Bryce Petty really did only show himself as a career backup, and he's just not worthy to be the answer. And that's why we really need to bring a veteran whose name is not Jay Cutler, or should I say the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. But we gotta get this resolved somehow. And if we have to really even draft, to get a quarterback, I mean, I'd probably be in for it. I mean, maybe I would possibly consider Deshaun Watson at number 6. Would you?
No. I mean, that would be the absolute desperation for me. It's probably the safest pick for the quarterback class because I know what I'm getting out of him, but I think it would just be a waste, especially if a guy like Reuben Foster or Malik Hooker is there. That's just a waste.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it, Kyle. I've said that on Let's Talk Jets actually a while back, and the reason why I said to draft a quarterback at number 6 was, like you said, for emergency purposes. Because you are going to have playmakers like Reuben Foster or Jamal Adams or even Malik Hooker just sitting there at number 6, and you're gonna wanna take that and just seize your moment to change your franchise. And personally, in my opinion, I would not draft a quarterback unless it's for emergency purposes. But there are just a lot better things to look forward to in the draft, and probably that's where Mike Maccagnan will probably unleash his 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, because we haven't really seen much out of free agency, and I think since Mike Maccagnan's version of rebuilding this team might be going through the draft class, then I'm expecting some big home runs to be hit during the draft.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, it's going to be hard not to hit a home run in this draft class. Honestly, with how good it is and how talented it is.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say something. But, well, you never know. I mean, you never know who the Jets
could be the Exec 12 all over again, if you never know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, how much cap space actually do we have right now?
I'm going to say about $19 million. I'll look it up.
Didn't we have like 40 last week?
Yeah.
How do we get $19 million in caps? How do we drop down to $19 million so quickly?
Well, I don't know. Let me check.
Especially with the signings we had. I mean, it looked like it was quite a bargain. I mean, but I think
we have $24 million in cap space.
Oh, 24?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that could be much better, but at least it's stable enough to get us some more guys. But
it will pay for the draft class, and it can probably get us like 2 more veteran free agents.
Which veteran free agents are you looking at, though?
I guess Morris Claiborne and Zach Brown.
I would probably go for Morris Claiborne, especially since he provides the best depth at corner, in my opinion.
Well, let's look at Morris Claiborne's stats from last year in perspective. Let me look those up real quick. Because I'm pretty sure he had a decent year, but then he got injured at some point. So let me check that out. David, why don't you go ahead and spitball for a second while I look this up. I'd lose sound or something. David, you not making any noise?
Okay, I just have to put something out there, but Morris Claiborne would be a good signing, especially with what we need at that corner spot at the moment. I mean, it's just quite a bit of chaos going there in Florham Park, and you gotta sign the free agents that fans want, or possibly draft a guy if anything. Like we mentioned earlier, to recap the show. I mean, Dont'e Hightower, glad he's not signed. Also, some signings, Beachum and Canzaro. I think 2 decent/smart pickups by the New York Jets, especially Calvin Beachum. I think he'll provide us the best depth at that left tackle spot. Maybe hopefully we can see him going back to his Pittsburgh form, and hopefully we could possibly see him, just really blossom, possibly as a New York Jet, and that even includes other players who are actually trying to blossom as well, like Quincy Enunwa. And I've actually told him, at Strikes Scholarships, when I met him 2 years ago, back when he was drafted, quite an interesting story, that he was actually going to be developing, and I thought he was going to be a true number 1 receiver, someday. And honestly, I was right, and honestly, I think he's really developed very well.
Look at David. He's the oracle now. All right, we're gonna go on to our next. We're gonna go on to our next call, and that is the always controversial and always getting us in trouble, Justin. Justin, what are you doing on Let's Talk Jets, man? You're putting Tyson in a situation to get our name in his mouth. What's up with that?
What's up, guys?
How you doing tonight, Justin?
Let's just make something clear. We did not teach you to waffle, Justin. You were born with that, or you picked it up from somebody. Not us, though. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I was off my game the other day. I don't know.
Oh man, I mean, they came and attacked us because of you. We can't be having that, Justin. That's bad for business.
Yeah.
Well,
all right,
I'll do with all the nonsense aside. Obviously Tyson didn't actually try to call us out. I mean, I know he's a very respectful man, and him and I are good friends and know what's up. So, I'm just gonna let
David, you
go.
say he didn't try and call us out, but he literally said,
"Well, he tried to call us."
Take.
Well, yes, but he's just trying to have fun. I mean, he's obviously not trying to attack us because honestly we're all good friends with each other, and we're not trying to cause any commotion. But Justin, let's go into some football talk. As you actually were discussing with them on Let's Talk Jets last night. I actually listened to that debate. You're not open with drafting O.J. Howard at 6. Now, I agree with you, but just explain why, and why is Tyson even considering that?
I mean, O.J. Howard is definitely a playmaker. I mean, the guy is a special talent. So, I mean, any chance you get to get a special talent, if I'm going offense, I'm definitely not going running back as we debated that. So, I mean, if I'm going offense, it might be just O.J. Howard, but I think I'm going defense if I'm drafting 6. But if I drop back, though, definitely O.J. Howard.
So you would not go the quarterback at number 6?
Quarterback? Absolutely not. Hell no.
Well, in case like if it was for an emergency situation. Which one?
I think Watson's my number 1 quarterback.
I would agree with you, especially since what he did in Clemson and led them to the national championship. And it was a good year for Deshaun Watson, but I'm just a little bit afraid of possibly bringing him in here and possibly drafting Geno Smith 2.0 since stats have actually spoke itself for the fact that he did put up similar stats. But moving from one stage of the offseason to the other, free agency. The New York Jets have prevented Dont'e Hightower from becoming the highest paid inside linebacker in the league. What are your thoughts?
To be honest, I wanted to get Hightower, but I mean, it's not really a bad move. There's still guys like Minter and Hodges that's who I want to go after. And I think there's no point in playing David Harris this year. We need to find his replacement, and Hodges or Minter can replace David Harris. I said it all along. There's no point in rebuilding and keeping David Harris for one more year.
Well, the fact that you are mentioning, though, of not keeping veterans, why do you want Eric Decker cut?
Because he's 30 and he's going to be too old. But, I mean, we still need it. We can fill that spot and see if someone else can either step up or draft someone. And Decker is up there in age. He just turned 30 today. When the whole rebuild is at its peak in 2 years, Eric Decker is going to be 32. Do you guys really want that when we can use the money elsewhere and try to maybe fill that hole and get maybe one or two receiver?
But why cut him? Why not trade him?
Because you're not getting no one's giving you anything for him.
Not one team will give me a 7th-round pick for Eric Decker.
7th-round pick?
It's better than just
a seventh.
David,
Decker?
let me make my point. It's better than just cutting him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's better than cutting him, but for a 7th, I'm good. I'll just hold on to him.
Okay, well, honestly, I don't.
No. You just retracted your point there. You're either...
Yeah, but a seventh is nothing.
I know it's nothing, but if you're just going to cut him anyway, I might as well go and get something for him.
No, I'm telling him to take a pay cut.
What if he says no?
Wait.
Then he says no, then I'll say have a nice day, good luck, goodbye.
And you cut him?
Yeah.
Instead of trading him for a 7th-round pick.
I don't know what you'd even get. If you get a 7th-round pick, then yeah, I'd get rid of him.
Okay. So wait. Isn't Decker's contract next season? Like not like this upcoming season, but 2018 to 2019.
Yeah, I think after this year, 2 more years, or after this year, and then I think we can get rid of him. Or 2018.
Yeah, I think I see the point you're trying to make though, because yes, Decker is turning 30, but I'm not ready to cut him this year. Mike McCagnon. Well, yeah, but Mike McCagnon obviously wants to give him 1 more year, and Eric Decker does provide a lot of value to this team, especially the fact that Kyle, you mentioned earlier in the show, he is I don't know if it was you or Ryan, but he is a quarterback's best friend. He's a great red zone threat, and he actually can put up some great numbers. I'm not saying as a number 1 receiver, because that's why I wanted Brandon Marshall here, because right now we don't have a true number 1 receiver, and Decker and Quincy Nunwa honestly just don't think really fit that. But
well,
honestly,
we don't know that.
Exactly. We don't know that, but I'm not ready to let Eric Decker go just yet. But once his contract year is next season, and what are we going to offer, about like $7 to $8 million next year? Or
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what. Yeah, something around there. But I definitely see your point to eventually cut Decker, but just don't. I'm not ready to cut him just yet.
Yeah, I understand that point. I mean, I'm not getting rid of him, but I mean, if we can use the money elsewhere, then I see the point. But as I said, I said it all along. I'd rather keep Decker than Marshall.
Really?
Yeah, I said it all along.
I don't think you have a choice at this point.
Yeah, now you don't, but let's go into this quarterback position, especially since now we're talking about receivers / playmakers for the hopefully new quarterback. So, Justin, I'm just going to say this right now. Welcome to Kyle Supports Cutler. So
what?
Hell no.
What?
So would you obviously would not bring in Jay Cutler? Why is that?
Hell no. I'll give you a couple different reasons.
That's the 3rd time somebody said hell no to Jay Cutler tonight. I'm starting to pick up something here.
Yeah, well, no one wants Cutler here, so.
I'll give you a grocery list of reasons. Drama in the locker room, price tag, injury past, not part of the future. There's 4 reasons right there.
Exactly. I 100% agree. If you bring Jay Cutler in there, you better revamp your offensive line to a level where Jay Cutler would probably have to just stay in the pocket. You would have to hope Decker were to stay healthy. You would have to hope that.
I disagree with that.
What?
I think the offensive line that's one of our offensive line is young and going to be good. I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with Jay Cutler coming in.
Well, yeah, but I'm just trying to make a point but I'm just trying to exaggerate my point. But
hell no. That would be even worse than bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick last year.
That's true, but I'm just listing out some pros though. Well, some potential pros. If you were to bring Jay Cutler in here, you'd have to have Decker to stay healthy. You'd have to have Forte and Powell to actually fulfill their duties as pass-catching backs, and you'd have to have Quincy Nunwa.
Mike McCagnon should be fired if we get Jay Cutler.
Exactly.
He should be fired on the spot.
100%. And you also have to have Quincy Nunwa to have a breakout year. But is there any veteran quarterback that you're trying to keep an eye on?
I keep saying it. Geno Smith's the best option, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I take a cheap flyer on RG3. I mean, he's fragile as hell, but he's still at least
you're guaranteeing Christian Hackenberg in there by week 3.
Yeah, I know, but I want to see what Hackenberg has to do. We might see Hackenberg anyway, even if Josh McCown and whoever we sign, we might see him anyway.
Why don't we just go in with Hackenberg?
So Hackenberg or Petty, or it depends. I'd be all for it.
I'm down, honestly. Why sign a veteran?
You're actually gonna want to have. You're gonna want to have a veteran here. And
yeah,
you're gonna want to have someone. You're gonna have.
I don't
even
know if Bryce Petty can win out the job, though. That's the problem.
He wouldn't win out the job because the guy has a torn labrum, and he just and like Ryan said earlier, he's just proven to be a career backup. Like he's had his chances to prove himself. But
I wouldn't go all that far. He showed signs, but I mean, he didn't look great, but he didn't look horrendous. So I mean, I still think we don't know what the full Bryce Petty is yet, but.
Well, that's true, but as of right now, as what we saw out of this year, missing targets and especially easy targets, and how many times he's been getting hit, and his history with the injured shoulder. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the preseason, I thought he looked outstanding, but I just don't see him as a quarterback yet.
He threw one touchdown pass. I wouldn't say outstanding.
Well, one touchdown pass in the preseason?
Yeah.
No, I think he had.
He had the one to Robbie Anderson in Washington.
No, he had two. One to Robbie, one to Sudfeld, and then he had 3 touchdown passes. My bad.
Didn't Sudfeld drop that one?
No, he didn't. Yeah, I know, but either way, bringing in a veteran could be a possibility. I think it could be something the Jets have to do anyway, but, veterans are coming off the table. I mean, Mike Glennon's gone, Brian Hoyer's gone.
Yeah, let's just pray we get Geno Smith back.
Not that they were options anyway.
Well, that's true.
There's no better options.
Especially with what we could get him for. I mean, he's got to really come off that ACL injury, which is my main concern. But, other than the fact that he just takes some unnecessary hits sometimes, he just doesn't really have the habit of throwing the ball away, at least from what I've seen, especially in that Raven game that I was at. Geno Smith is familiar with the team, and he can actually
throw the ball over 10 feet.
Exactly, throw the ball over 10 feet, and I would bring him and just let him heal that ACL injury, and then let him go back to training camp to prove himself.
Exactly, as Bowles said, he's going to give Hackenberg and Petty the chance to one of them to be the starter. So let him be the starter, give him some reps, some meaningful reps, and then when training camp comes around, and Geno's ready to go, winner takes all.
I could see that. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not against it. Honestly, at this point, I don't even care. It's not going to be a good year for the Jets.
Well, yeah, it probably won't be a good year, but that doesn't mean I still want them to tank the year away. I still want them to try to go out there and try to perform at a playoff level, but we know it's not going to happen. So, now looking into the draft, Justin, we haven't really done much in free agency, and there's a possibility that Mike McCagnon really might just be hitting home runs during the NFL draft. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he has to. He doesn't really have much of an option.
Okay, so also, like I reported some breaking news earlier, Morris Claiborne, a possibility coming to the Jets. I mean, it's down to either the Jets or the Ravens. What are your thoughts?
I heard the Ravens lowballed him.
Yeah, I don't know. Morris
really?
Claiborne, I guess I'd take a flyer on him, but I don't know. I'd rather just address it in the deep draft class.
Well, Kyle, didn't you say all corners in the draft would be potential number 2s and not really number 1s?
Not really. Sidney just got hurt too. Well, I would definitely take a flyer on him in later rounds.
Yeah, I don't think he should fall that far, honestly. I mean, he has no structural damage in his knee, just a basic ACL tear.
I had him as my number 1 or 2 corner before the
injury. He was my number 2. He got 100 on my rating scale when he got injured. Like, I was literally grading him that day, and he got 100. And so did Quincy Wilson, so.
right. Well, now,
Yep, Quincy, yep.
Yeah, well, now the breaking news about the Jets and Morris Claiborne that it's kind of heating up a little bit. Connor Rogers is saying the Jets should be able to close this deal, but I don't know. I'm actually hoping that they sign Claiborne right here.
Yeah, Claiborne wouldn't be bad to take a flyer on him.
I think he would provide the best depth at the number one corner spot, in my opinion. And especially if you're gonna have someone like Marcus Williams playing at number 2, and then you're gonna have Buster Screen in the slot, which is where he plays best, then you gotta have the best depth at the number one corner spot. But I don't think did Claiborne play number 1 in Dallas or no?
Nah. He was like number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah, that's why I drafted one to be the number 1 corner.
I think he does have potential to be a number 1 corner. He really just needs to get used to the feel, and hopefully we can see where he's at really. Because if Morris Claiborne does get signed, I think that would be a great signing for the Jets, especially if they could get him for a good deal. Like, what would you sign him to?
He's asking for 7.5, and I heard the Ravens offered him 5. So the Jets will probably give him 7.
Freak that! I'd rather get Minter or Hodges for 7.
Whoa! Actually, corners. I don't think corners really come that cheap either. I mean,
nope.
I think
it doesn't matter.
7.
If we replace David Harris, that's 6.5 right there. So you can
We're not getting rid of David Harris. We're going to let him play out his final year.
Exactly.
Not so sure about that.
David Harris has been a true Jet.
Not so sure about that. If you can get one of these guys like Brown or Minter or Hodges, I can see McCagnon definitely cutting David Harris without a doubt.
If we do, I'll be upset. David Harris he's done a pretty serviceable job.
Yeah, that's the problem. Where it doesn't matter. We're trying to rebuild here. We got rid of Mangold and Revis. I mean,
you got to keep some veterans. I mean, with a guy like Deron Lee, who we still don't know what he is yet. I want a veteran.
Matt Forte.
He's not a linebacker, though. They're not linebackers there. They're not going to teach him how to be a linebacker like David Harris can.
That's all right. That's what we got a coach for.
Well, I don't think the coach is doing that swell of a job.
Well, not the linebackers coach. We just got a new one.
He's an outside linebackers coach.
Kevin Green.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin Green.
But he's an outside linebackers coach, not an inside linebackers coach.
Oh, yeah, well, listen, Justin. Well, Justin, at the end of the day, though, Justin, I mean, yes, we are rebuilding, but we can't get rid of every single veteran. You got to have veterans.
Exactly. We'll still have Eric. We'll still have veterans.
So why do you want to get? So David Harris is a good leader. Why do you want to get rid of him?
No point. No point.
He's like the only play caller on the defense that I can trust every down.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're rebuilding. You got to find new leaders. That's part of the process. David Harris is gone next year, so in a rebuilding year, you got to get rid of him. If you can have other guys step up and try to become a David Harris, that's what you want to do in a rebuilding year.
I don't think he will.
Exactly, but right now, so David Harris is going to play his final year as a Jet, and then we're going to see what happens from there.
Not so sure about that, but okay.
All right, Justin, thank you so much for calling in, man. We got to start wrapping up the show.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right, and that was Justin. Crap, I forgot to ask him for his social media. David, you're going to have to tweet that out. Before you do that, we're going to wrap up the show about 10 minutes early. Let me go ahead and... All right, so just me and you now, David. Do you have a trivia question ready for me?
Well, I don't know what the hell you just did. But,
I locked the conference so nobody else would call in.
I don't know why you did that. But, I do have a trivia question. And, someone's back. Oh, no, never mind, I lied. But, I do have one question, and here it is.
All right.
This is an easy question. Ryan Fitzpatrick, how many touchdowns did he have in his entire career as a Jet? This is an easy question, right there.
What? How is that an easy question? All right. I know he threw for. Man, this is a hard question, David. Crap.
Easy question.
Why did you unlock it?
Just leave it that way. Just answer the question.
Did he set the franchise record for passing touchdowns? Yeah, he did. And what was that, like 32?
How many passing? 31.
31. Wait, only passing or altogether?
Passing.
Oh, okay. 31. I think he threw 15 this year. I'm going to go 46.
Wrong. It was actually 43 because he had 12 touchdowns this year. 43. Incorrect.
All right, David, before we head out, do you have... Do you have any last remarks before we head out?
Any last remarks? No, not really, other than the fact that, hopefully by next week we'll be talking about Morris Claiborne being signed.
Yeah, I mean, that's to be determined whether that's good or not. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Thank you for all the support constantly. I think Ben will be back next week. David, good job tonight. You did a really good job. Thanks to everybody who called in. Like I said, thank you guys for all the support on social media and all the listens. We're constantly getting over 300 listeners per episode, and that's just really great. We're approaching the 1-year mark for the Jet Take. That's coming up April 14th, I think. I don't know. I'm not good at remembering anniversaries. But I know it's in April, so we'll definitely be having a celebration for that soon. We'll definitely try to get some draft analysis like Connor Rogers back on the show. Definitely expect some more from me. You can follow the Jet Take on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, you can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or any other podcatcher you can think of. David's Twitter is at GangreneDavid1. At GangreneDavid1. His Instagram is just at GangreneDavid. You could go check out his YouTube channel. Just search Gangrene David. If you haven't figured it out, it's probably Gangrene David of some assortion. You'll probably find them. He always has some blistering takes to talk about on YouTube, so definitely go give him a subscribe and like his videos. He's doing a good job over there. Personally, if you like what I do, I doubt that you do, but you can go follow me on Twitter at Kyle Fahey NFL. I also talk about the draft. You can go check out my draft Twitter and the website. I'll just say the Twitter at OfficialDraftDom. Anything I'm missing, David? I think I ran over everything.
Yeah, I think you're good.
All right, and of course we're going to leave you with the best chant in the NFL. Until next week, go Jets.